Alright. As the man said, let's try it again, shall we? Okay. So, for those who are watching the previous broadcast, who aren't quite sure what I'm talking about, watching this later, we were in the middle of doing a stream, about 25 minutes into it, give or take. And, of course, when trying to leave a mode of Battlefront to go back to the main menu to pick something else, as happens about once out of every, I'd say 4 times you're trying to switch modes in the middle of a stream, it decided to freeze and crap out. So I had to restart the game, which meant restarting the stream because no, apparently you cannot, as I figured, you cannot restart a game and keep the same stream going. So here we go then. Actually, where am I on any of the stuff to do? Welcome back for those who are coming back. Welcome for those who are not. Officer kills to work on. Where's that one? I'll work on this for now. Okay, so diving back in here. It's bad enough that the game only has like 5 main modes, but then it's like, you know, oh, you want to actually play all the modes? You can't change modes in the middle of a stream, my friend. Sorry, you can't do that, capiche? Anyway. Let's see, did I see the latest Tomb Raider? I have not, though apparently the game has much more heart and makes more sense than the movie does, which is sad. Apparently the movie just turns the violence into something gratuitous instead of actually using it for the character growth that the game does. So I may just stick with the game, but I'll probably see it at some point, maybe on, like, on demand or something. Nice. Nice. And I'm excited to see the reaction to it. I kind of hope it does something good for the community, but I kind of feel like to some degree it's almost too little too late. Like the damage to the game's reputation, to DICE, yay. The attention it brought in the community itself to the concept of microtransactions, kind of that damage has already been done. So the result winds up being, you know, here's a fix, but is it actually going to draw in any new people? Is it going to draw in that many people who said no before, who might say yes now? It's more like triage to me than it is anything else. Speaking, though, of people going to need some triage, I love this thing. I finally unlocked the last of the guns for the Specialist, and this is insane. The NT-242. I've got the dual zoom on it now. But basically, if you look at the damage, it's the only one where the damage is all the way up to the top of the scale. So basically, hit them anywhere other than maybe a limb, and they're very likely to die. And then as you're getting the kills with it, you get your different add-ons. And the one add-on that I love, pretty much regardless of which weapon it's on, is that dual zoom. And it was the first one for the NT. So, awesome. So I'm slowly working through getting more kills with that one. So, might as well jump in with Specialist this time. Well, yeah, but the Angelina Jolie movies weren't meant to stick to the game. They used the game as inspiration and told an original story. The new movie is specifically based on the story, or supposed to be the story, of the reboot game. And where they went far afield, they went way far afield, apparently.
Capturing the junkyard!
Get behind that wall so I don't get shot.
Heads up!
Richard, do you want to get shot? Name that movie. Richard, do you want to get shot? Ah, and of course, I'm not paying enough attention and wind up getting shot in the face. Richard apparently did want to get shot. Perio reinforcements. Wow.
The junkyard should be ours shortly.
Where they just like grab somebody and take them into hyperspace. There you go, that's the one. Richard, do you want to get shot? Like this guy. And that lady. Anybody else?
Squads proceed to the cantina. Expect heavy fire.
Damn. Why is it? I must be hitting the chairs and not the gun. Hi. Bye. Oh, where you going? Damn it, missed him. Only downside is that the firing rate's pretty low. Now, isn't that DC the real most wretched hive? See you, Veda. Well, I mean, wouldn't be the earliest Star Wars books. I mean, the early, like the novelization, I think is the only one that actually used the title on it. Because it was on those early script drafts. But most of the earliest novels didn't have anything about Luke on them because they weren't about, you know, Luke. I never did see the original series. My dad loved the original Fugitive. But I was watching the one that they rebooted with the dude, one of the guys from Wings, I think it was. And I really liked it. Of course, they canceled it. I guess that was back in the day before reboots were like the only thing television would make anymore. Anybody else? There you go. Which is funny because my boss at work is Tim Maley. And I remember thinking, that sounds so familiar at first. Like, oh, Daly, Maley, got it. One letter difference. I'd have to go back and look at my original ones. I mean, it may be, but I didn't remember. I've got some first editions in there of the solo novels, but I didn't remember seeing that on those. But I also haven't looked at them in many, many years, except just to move them around on my shelf. Move them around to make space, and then realize I still don't have enough space, so I move stuff around to make space, and then realize again that I still don't have enough room. Got an entire friggin' room that's basically an office meets Star Wars room, and I don't have enough friggin' space.
For the Emperor.
Almost tempted to take the books and start storing them in the garage, but we don't have the room, of course, in the garage either. Thought about selling them off, but I keep being convinced not to. Then again, if the timeline ends, there won't be as much of a need to hang on to them. Any school plays? I did one long ago that I honestly can't remember what it was, like in middle school. And then in high school I did one my freshman year, which was the best Christmas pageant ever. But you had they were working on our auditorium, so it was actually a traveling play. Like we went to senior centers and stuff like that to do performances. Oh shit, guys, you need to leave. Like, guys, Luke's in there. The boss's daddy, or the boss's kid. It's take your child to work day. I think Daly gets more credit than, for instance, Smith does. Right? I mean, Smith barely gets any credit. Though I do think that Daly should get more credit than Foster, because Foster was at the time basically adapting existing ideas well, in many respects. But that may be personal bias, because the one time I met Foster, he wasn't all that personable. But then again, it was also 2004, and we were interviewing him for a podcast, which at the time we just called it an internet radio show, because the term really wasn't in use much, if at all. And he was like, what the hell am I here for? Why am I talking to these fans in a hotel room, and why do they have a recorder sitting on the table? What the hell is going on here? And that was probably more animated than he ever sounded in the actual conversation. That's one from the old, like, what Clone Trooper was talking about a minute ago. That's from the old Chrono Radio days. That was an interview that we actually split between Chrono Radio and my buddy Rich Siegfried's Requiem of the Outcast podcast back then. Old school. Back in the days when if you wanted a podcast or whatever, you just went to the website and you downloaded the MP3, damn it. You didn't have this, oh, I got a program that brings it to me, bull crap. Gotta have a program to bring you your audio file, you spoiled little bitches. Uh-oh. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call them spoiled little bitches. Ah! Mask I liked, yeah. I actually was tempted to get into the Mask comics, and I never did. The new ones, not the old Star Comics ones. It's a mighty power that could save the day. No one knows what lies behind their masquerade. Bow, 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 bow. Yeah, I mean, I think podcasts... I mean, so Star Wars was kind of on the early edge of that, but that's partly because there were already fan films and things like that that had started to catch on. But I mean, what got us into it was that it was a medium that would let us, you know, get our voices heard, get good discussion going on, hopefully, or be dicks in the case of some podcasters, even these days. But it's a very easy thing to do, you know, and that was even back in the days when, you know, like my first podcast, I edited in QuickTime friggin' Pro instead of something. I used QuickTime Pro initially and then WaveLab, and now I just use Audacity, which is kind of the standard. Damn it! But that was back in the day, like when I first interviewed Kevin J. Anderson or anybody for the podcast, that was the days when you would have a cordless phone that has a speakerphone built into it into the back of the handset so you can carry it around, and you would use a calling card, a long distance calling card, to call the interview subject on the phone and then stick that directly underneath your microphone so they could hear you and hear them coming through the phone, and it sounded like talk radio in terms of call quality. Yeah, and I'll be honest, like it's been a long time since I've listened to much in the way of Star Wars podcasts. Like, I used to listen to all of them. But then, of course, that strayed away, and there were some that I was just like, ugh, until eventually it's just too big of a genre to follow. And now I don't really have the time to listen to it, because when I do listen to anything, I'm usually listening to something political, or I'm listening to an audiobook, or something like that. Like, I find that my interests in what I listen to lean much more towards politics, psychological insights like Persuasion that I'm listening to right now and stuff like that. Whew. But yeah, it's funny, you tell people that you've been podcasting or that you were doing internet radio in 2002, they have no idea what you're talking about. If you say you were doing podcasting in 2002, that's not actually accurate, because podcasting as a term didn't exist, but they know what the hell you're talking about. So, you know, whatever. I'm an old fogey.
Rebel scum.
You rebel scum. You rebel algae. You rebel tartar. Hey, Russell. Thank you much. We've got, I don't know if it's out yet. We just did the feedback episode of Beyond the Films, but I'm not sure if Mark has got it released yet. I edit them now for the moment, but then he adds the music and stuff, so I'm not entirely certain
Rebel ships are launching. Cordon has failed.
whether or not it's out yet. And I know our episode, our most recent episode of Cloud City Casino is out, because that doesn't require a lot of editing. Michael definitely got that out because Vita responded to it, because I basically spent part of that episode being pissed that they really rarely, if ever, made it clear to prospective buyers that Star Wars Legion was unpainted like Warhammer. You could assume it was going to be unpainted, but they only maybe twice in all their many previews and news articles actually said unpainted. Everything else showed painted miniatures, which perhaps was going to account for the higher price, but nope. Just a higher price because that's what the market is for that type of game. Yep. I'm trying to remember the first website that I ever hosted my timeline on. I want to say it was Angel Fire, and then it was Zoom, and then it was Fandom / StarWarsWithAZ.com, and then FanWorks. What is the only ship that's better than Raylo, and why is it? Without a doubt, Razma? Oh, Phasma, I'm assuming. I don't even see where that... No. Have I heard people already saying that the 4K isn't that good? I've seen the opposite. I've seen people talking about the 4K Voodoo release and singing its praises. We'll see. We'll see in a week from today, actually. I don't even want to think about all the friggin' copies of that movie I got coming my way. It's ridiculous. It is redonkulous.
Ready to go.
And I think I'll wind up with 2 spares. That one that I'll either use as a giveaway or give to a buddy of mine, and the other will be that I'm going to give my mom. I've been trying to give her a copy of all the new movies as they come out, to sort of as a thank you for her taking me as a kid to see the movies. So I try to make sure she has all the new ones so she doesn't have to go find them. Yep, MySpace. MySpace was my first social media. It's funny how fast how fast the technology moves, and the websites sort of supplant each other. But if you listen to some songs about it now, like Weird Al does a lot of great, period pieces, but some of them don't wear well. Like there's the It's All About the Pentiums, where it makes fun of MySpace. Got people begging for my top 8 spaces. One of the lines is, in posting Me Too like some brain-dead AOLer. Well, now that is a very politically incorrect thing to say. Because obviously Me Too has come to be something different now than it was at the time. When am I going to do another book set review? Russell, give me an example of what you're talking about specifically, as an example, because I'm not 100% sure what type you're talking about. I know, we will see. I'll see you on Tuesday. Hopefully I'll see before that, because we already got the preparing for shipment notice from a Disney Movie Club a few days ago. So hopefully I won't have to actually wait until release day for that. I'll tell you one thing, I am never buying another digital movie pre-order through PlayStation Network ever fucking again. Ever. End of story, done. Because there was that whole... Go ahead and pre-order it now, and when you pre-order it, guess what? You're gonna get a special theme, which we did. You're gonna get special avatars, which I did. Pre-order now, except when the damn movie actually comes out, they add something new, which is the bundle. And if you don't buy the bundle, you don't get any of the bonus features that you would have gotten if you had bought it on almost any other streaming service. Fuck you, PlayStation. That's some bullshit. So, yes, I will never pre-order or probably order a movie through PlayStation Network again. Probably the only thing I'll be watching through PSN from this point forward is Powers, and that's only because it's a PlayStation exclusive. Otherwise, hell with that! Uh-oh, somebody's shooting at me! I think I'm zoomed in too much, so I'm having... Yeah, there they are. I was shooting too high. I was aiming too high. That's exactly who I was trying to shoot at, and I was like, where are they at? Where they be? Okay, yeah, top 8 spaces was quite nerdy, right. Around the same was that one album difference? One of them was on Bad Hair Day, and the other one was on either the one right before or right after. Love me some Weird Al. I keep wanting to, at some point, go full digital, because what I've got for most of my Weird Al library, up until the one with Saga Begins on it, I think, is all stuff that I had on cassette, and I digitized it, and they got rid of the cassettes, only to realize later that the volume wasn't all that great when I did the digitizing. So, if I try to play them like on a shuffle or something in the car or something, or when I could, then it was all screwy volume.
Let's go.
I say when I could, because new cars, apparently it's not cool to have a CD player anymore, even an MP3 CD player. Now it's all streaming or USB stick. God damn! It's probably the same guy. I haven't been paying attention, but I was trying to shoot up there at some asshole and got shot. Definitely kind of sad that we've only got the, you know, the 2 Blu-ray 3D releases. So
One of our agents just landed.
I'm eager for the UK stuff to come out and get sent down here, so at least I've got that. I did that with Thor Ragnarok, and that worked fine enough. But yeah, it's definitely irksome to me as someone who's a big proponent and a big fan of 3D at home to not be able to get Last Jedi in the US in 3D. And I guess I'll have to be doing that same import crap with every Marvel movie too. At least until the At least until the UK doesn't do it anymore. Oh, 2 albums. Okay. But advance ticket. I don't even know when we're gonna go see that. It just depends on my wife's
With you.
schedule. But the only advance tickets that we usually buy, like a long while in advance, is for Star Wars stuff. Otherwise, we do buy the advance tickets online, but it's usually like the night before we go or something, just so we can pick out the seats and not have to stand in line trying to pick seats. Because it's one of those reserved seat auditoriums. Yeah, haven't seen it yet, so... See, I can't get into the vinyl thing again. My brain is like, we moved past vinyl. I just can't do it anymore.
We're too late. Starkiller's firing and reinforcements are coming. Run!
All right, see if I can get one more match in of something, but I'll try to leave this and go back into a new match because I wanted to do at least one Starfighter assault. So let's see if it lets me do that, or if it's just going to freeze up like last time. Yeah, I didn't do anything that was related to that. Because I sucked this time, gosh. Yeah, I wasn't paying any attention whatsoever. Well, okay, correction. I wasn't paying any attention except when I was like, oh, hey, I'll do this. And by that time, I was dead anyway. So, yeah. Helps to pay attention to what you're doing, right? No, I mean, I don't see the turntable thing as my thing. Like, if I'm gonna buy something that plays something vinyl that uses a needle, I'm gonna find me an old working CED player and watch the Star Wars films on CED or VHD for that matter, because that's more my thing. Music-wise, at this point, I tend to like to just get it digitally through iTunes, slap it on my phone because I can listen to it in the car. Like when I'm at home, I'm usually listening to audiobooks, political podcasts, or since I'm a teacher and I'm a total nerd about this kind of stuff, I'll go on YouTube and start a playlist of some of Rick Wormeli. It looks like Wormelli, but Rick Wormeli stuff, like his presentation to a school system in Iowa. That really kind of talks about a lot of the philosophies that in a lot of ways are at the heart of the job that I have now. And stuff like that, right? So when I'm here at home, I'm usually not listening to music. Like even if I'm in the shower, I'm turning on an audiobook or talk radio like Michael Smirkanish loud enough that I can hear it while I'm in the shower. The music is really only when I'm in the car, most of the time. Let's see. Do I think 2006, 2008 was a better Star Wars home video media release? Was a better year for it? Well, I mean... 2008 gave you the first Star Wars Blu-ray, which is Clone Wars. 2008 gave you the only box set of the prequel trilogy on DVD. It gave us a repackage of the original trilogy DVD. And some other minor things. I would say probably 2008. 2006, I mean, it's known for, it's the unaltered editions, which weren't really unaltered, but you get them again in 2008. So unless we're talking about who got it first and not which was the better year, I would say 8 probably wins out on that one. Here's me. Have I ever seen Batman Mask of the Phantasm? Years ago. I don't remember jack about it. Other than there's Batman, and there was like a mask. And like a dude with a mask. It's like there was a mask and there was like a dude in the mask. Yep. And it's kind of crazy. I mean, even then, I mean, you would think that there would have been another prequel box set at some point, but nope. All we got was that Saga DVD pack that wasn't really a saga because it was episodes 1 and 2 with no 3. It was dumb. Yep. That was also the first Star Wars Steelbook in the U.S. that year. Because Clone Wars, when the Clone Wars film came out at Best Buy, you could get it as a Steelbook. It's the only Star Wars Steelbook in the U.S. that is DVD only. All the other ones have been Blu-ray or otherwise. Blu-ray or higher definition. And then that's also the year of the Target exclusive pack-in that had the comic book in it, right? So, kind of cool. Sort of the birth of modern Star Wars retailer incentives. If you're talking about alternate versions of packaging as opposed to stuff like, here, have a lithograph. Here, have a little postcard-looking thing. But actual differences in the packaging itself. Weren't Target and Best Buy the only retailers with exclusive releases of that film? Yes. Yes, as I recall. Oh, I forgot. I was going back and going through footage of the old VR mission on the original Battlefront the other day. So for some reason I was like, oh, got a boost. Oh, wait. I can't boost. Wrong Battlefront. Derp. Yeah, definitely my favorite mode. I'm really kind of shocked that they haven't added a bunch more modes to the game. I mean, come on. 2015 for home video. Yeah, I mean, Steelbooks and the Complete Saga reissue that they didn't hype up, so basically people fall for the bootleg, quote-unquote, DVD version of that constantly. I have to show you guys. I haven't done an episode on it yet because I just haven't had the time, but I've got... I'm going to do an episode looking at the UK Clone Wars Seasons 1 to 5 set and compare that to the US one because a lot of people look at that as a potential replacement that's going to be cheaper to get these days. But I've also got one from France that came with, of all things, a Yoda Funko Pop figure. Like, you would never think of a Funko Pop promotion tied into home video here, but France did it for Clone Wars, which is kind of cool. Damn, there you go. Let's see. Blu-ray DVD combos. That's also the year of the Blitz, right? So complete seasons 1 through 5 of Clone Wars on Blu-ray and DVD, plus season 5, plus the 3-pack. Plus, I want the Navajo edition of A New Hope that year, which is a culturally significant thing, even if it wasn't a big home video moment for most people in the U.S. That was also the year that I started actually collecting Star Wars home video and actually saw myself as a collector of it instead of just, well, I've got a bunch of them. And really started hardcore collecting. It's kind of bizarre that that's already 5 years ago now. Long enough that I've become sort of expert in it and written a friggin' book, which is not something I intended when that whole process started at all. Jim, I can do that. I can't do that while I'm in the midst of the stream, or it will kill the stream, or at least block you guys out and potentially kill it. But I'm on the last match anyway. Got milk? Yep. Do they even use the got milk stuff anymore? Are you allowed to use got milk anymore? Or is that somehow, like, insensitive to cows these days? I'm not really sure. Does anyone offer the films individually? I'm assuming you're talking about the original 6. You can get the Blu-rays of 1 through 6 in the Steelbooks from 2015 still, and since those weren't a retailer exclusive, they overproduced those, so you can find those still pretty easily. It's when they do the Steelbooks that are retailer exclusives that it becomes really difficult to get, or they wind up being the only way to get something like Guardians of the Galaxy 2. The only way to get the 3D version of Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was to get the Steelbook from Best Buy. That was also 4K, which meant it was a Steelbook and it was 4K. The first one that they had ever done is 4K for Disney, and it was 3D and the only way to get it, so they sold out like mad. So you got to be kind of careful with those. But the wide release from 2015, you can. My local Best Buy still has those on their shelves.
Another mine destroyed.
Last half of Rebels. I thought it was solid. I thought it had some good emotional beats and good character development kind of moments. I was not a big fan of the Loth Wolves. I think as soon as they introduced the Loth Wolves, it all kind of went a little bit off the rails for me. But, I'm just not into that side of things. Like, I like the Force philosophy stuff, but if it's just, it's the magical will of the Force, look, animals, and you're never going to get an explanation for what the hell is going on, but just roll with it. Oops. That just doesn't do it for me, really. Will there be an in-depth Beyond the Films about it? I'm not sure. I'll need to talk to Mark, but that's a possibility. Since we don't have Rebels Roundtable anymore as of the end of Season 2. I believe he's watched them all. He just his kids just haven't. So they haven't recorded quite so far yet for a Padawan perspective yet. Whew. Yeah, the Navajo one was a bit tricky to listen to. I like now it's just the little bits and like I'm getting a chance to watch in different languages that I never really thought about, because usually when I was picking up stuff for a long time it was US or maybe UK, then a little bit of Japan, but now with China and South Korea added into the mix and France wrapped into the mix, it's interesting to see how the options change. It's weird if you look at the season sets from the UK and compare them to the season sets from the US for the Clone Wars. It's the one pair of bonus features that are missing. A trailer for the Clone Wars Adventures game and a trailer for The Force Unleashed 2. Why, of all things, are those the things that are missing? I'm assuming because in that region there was something different about how it was being marketed or when it was supposed to come out or something, but that was just weird to me.
Focus all fire on the enemy bombers.
Interesting. I don't remember that, but I also didn't pick them up at the time thinking them redundant, only to later have to buy them on the secondary market, which sucked.
You've got company.
Yeah. And I mean, it's sort of like, to some degree, it's like a lot of stuff we see in Clone Wars and in Rebels, right? Some manifestation that's just not the typical manifestation. Which is fine, but I'm still like, meh. No. Well, okay, so this map is, it's the aftermath of the destruction of the Death Star 2, right? So in theory, it could be happening right at the end of Return of the Jedi, before the celebration, while the Empire is still in the process of pulling out. Rey Sloane giving the order and all that kind of stuff. But it's also an area that you fly in during the campaign. So, you wind up back here. Such a beautiful game. I wish that there was VR content. Which reminds me, I need to see if Arc Park is any good, because I'm tempted to buy it, but I don't want to buy it if it turns out that it's crap. It's a new VR game that came out today. What's interesting is at the time when I got my 1982 rental VHS, now granted this was a US copy, it was actually easier to get that than to get the retail one for 82 for some reason. But I mean, it was just come down to the odds of just what happens to be. Oh shit! What happens to be on eBay at the time. Ray Sloan. One of the few characters to actually be introduced in the new canon outside the movies that actually matters a damn. Way to go, Ray! I like the character, but it's a pretty sad statement there.
There's still hope. Keep flying.
Yeah, World Between Worlds thing was another thing that's kind of like, what? And I guess that's the thing for me with the mysticism, you know, like okay, even if you're really like, okay, Lothwolves, man, they're a manifestation of the Force. But then there's another part of me that goes, the fucking painting is animated! It's paint! On rock! It's animated! What kind of Scooby-Doo shit is this? So, yeah, I mean, there were things in those last episodes that had me going, what? But by and large, I enjoyed it. By and large, I think that Rebels was a more consistent and stronger journey than Clone Wars was. But a lot of that came down to the fact we didn't know what would happen to the characters. You know, when they were in peril, they were actually in peril. Instead of being, don't worry about it, we'll see them later. At least until they revealed Hera and Chopper existing after the series would be over. Let's see. Yeah, time travel has to be used very, very carefully in storytelling and not just in a practical sense.
Don't forget what we're fighting.
That's why I like my old method of time travel from my Greater Good novel. It's just different, it's weird, but it's not something that,
The Imperials don't
you know,
have many ships left.
it's not
End
something
this now.
that's
Finish them off.
falls into the, oh, we're going to do it all the time, illogical issues that a lot of times you run into. Like I specifically worked to try to make sure that didn't happen. But I'm a nerd, so that makes sense.
This is almost over.
It's almost over. Bow. Who invited Slash to the party?
Deadly force, and they'll be back. Worse than ever.
Have I seen Primer? Oh? Nope, I have not. Yeah, true. There's actually an end for that. Did I just complete that? I did just complete that. Huh. I guess. 5 hero ships with the fighter ship class. That is going to be such a pain. Or 25. That is such a pain in the butt. Yeah, I don't care. Okay. Let's jump back out to the menu and see if I actually got anything for that. Well, that's not a planet blowing. Well, no, there was the other thing. I was thinking of the seismic charge. But you're right. Whenever they blow up the little mines, they do that whole thing. No! No! There we go. I had to get that here momentarily. All right, so I'm waiting for this to go back to the menu to see if there was anything. I'm going to need to probably head here because it is longer than I expected to go, about twice as long as I expected to go for this piece of it at least. Later on this week, I will jump into another stream, but exactly how long and who will be with me, if anyone, hard to say at this point, but to give us a chance to look at the progression system. Again, the progression system rolls out in multiple phases. The new progression system's first step is tomorrow. Save up your credits. You'll want to use those in the future for those cosmetics. Crafting parts will be turned into skill points, etc., etc., and beware because crystals are coming, but not quite yet. Not until I believe April. So I'm going to head out. That did give me something. I don't know what it was, but it did give me something. It'd be under career. And then hopefully I'll be able to find out tonight if Arc if Arc is any good, and I'll decide whether to grab that or not. But thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time.